There's this one lesson in street photography that everyone talks about it, but no one really wants to do, and that is to wait and be patient. And honestly, I'm terrible at it. I'm not the type of person who can sit there and wait and be like a sniper and just wait for the shot. I just want to keep moving. I want to see what's in the next corner. But here's the twist. A few times that I actually committed in waiting for a shot, it became weirdly fun. I think the longest time that I ever waited for a shot was about like 30 minutes.
Like a waiting game. If I can, ideally, I kind of want to wait for just one person or one bike, not two. Two is a little distracting, in my opinion.
It was good lighting, good geometry, and I finally got the shot that I sort of liked. And there's another time that I was waiting for both of the train to pass by, and I also waited for maybe like 15-20 minutes or so, just so I can wait for both of them to depart at the same time. However, one started earlier before the other, and I wasn't able to get the shot that I had in mind, which was a bit of a bummer. But still, the process of waiting for the shot was strangely enjoyable. I almost feel like the city was performing for me. And I feel like the real issue here is because I live in the States, not much is going on the streets. I mean, I guess if you live in New York City or Chicago, that's a different story. If I'm shooting around my neighborhood or even go to downtown, maybe I have to wait for 15 or 20 minutes for someone to walk by to a place that I'm like just camping out for the shot. Sometimes even longer. And I say if you're in the same situation, I feel like moving from one corner to the other makes more sense. If the environment is quiet, nothing's happening, and there's just no one around, camping out becomes an exercise, just testing your mental limit instead of capturing a good shot. But here's the thing, patience is still one of the greatest ways to practice street photography. If you happen to find a location with good foot traffic, interesting lighting, strong framing, take a deep breath and give it a chance. Set up your shot, plant your feet, and just let the scene unfold in front of you. And sometimes cool things happen when you do this. You're no longer intruding into people's space, they're walking inside yours. Whenever they're walking inside your frame, the dynamic feels totally different. Especially if you're an introvert like me, you don't want to push through other people's bubble and just shove the camera inside their face and just like, hey, I'm gonna take a photo just right in front of you and hoping to capture a reaction of some sort. That's just not exactly how I like to shoot. I have tried it before. Interesting, but I wouldn't say I like it. So if you're an introvert like me, I would just observe quietly and simply wait for the right moment. It's still street photography, just without being a weirdo running into people's personal space. By the way, if you find this video helpful at any given point, don't forget to like and subscribe. I truly appreciate your support. Now, if waiting teaches you patience, the next thing you want to do is become a detective. I say street photography is 50% camera settings and then 50% reading people, if you will. Just slow down, observe, and pay attention to every single little detail that you see people walking around on the street. This could be gestures, clothing, maybe the way they're walking, or perhaps something that they carry on them on the street. After a while, you'll start to have a sense of the street, and you'll be able to really predict what might happen next and just plan for the shot. Street photography becomes a game of predicting micro moments. You position yourself, dial in the settings, and just wait for the beat to drop. And because you've done the detective work, the anticipation, the positioning, the composition, now suddenly you have a higher chance of capturing something more interesting. Not because you're lucky, it's because you're shooting smarter. There's a part where nobody likes to hear. Even you have the perfect plan, you're at the right position at the right time, the lighting is just perfect. However, there will be times where things will just not go according to plan. At least half the time, the moment you picture in your head is not going to happen exactly the way you plan. Sometimes it's the interesting stuffs or just like a mix of things that doesn't happen accordingly that makes the photo more interesting. On the flip side, sometimes it does ruins it. I used to get frustrated whenever that happens. If the scene didn't play out the way I imagined, I just automatically labeled it as failed decisive moment. But that's not how street photography actually works. You can control your settings, your composition, your anticipation. However, you can't control people. You can't even control the chaos that's happening in front of you. And that's kind of the point. Sometimes you wait 20 minutes and nothing happens. Sometimes you move 20 feet away from the position that you had earlier and all of a sudden you grab a good shot. I say both are valid and both are just part of the game. Don't allow the shot that you missed ruin your photo walk. Your best photo will happen whenever you're present, observant, and actually okay with that every outing or photo walk is not going to produce bangers all the time. Failure is just part of street photography, and if you can accept that, everything else will become much easier. Okay, now let's talk about the holy grail of street photography, the decisive moment. When I first started, I thought the decisive moment was just that one perfect frame where everything lined up itself and the universe says, here, you deserve this. But the more I shoot, the more I realize decisive moment is kind of like a myth. Most of the time we think that we know what the moment is. But oftentimes, the truth is, we don't know until after we review everything. You might take 20, 50, 100 shots of the same evolving scene, and it's only later, while you're scrolling through them, then you decide which one actually works. Now, does taking a lot of photo helps? Absolutely. Burst mode can help you to have a higher chance of capturing something good. But for me, burst mode also makes me lazy. I stop paying attention to the timing, the thing that matters the most. I hold the shutters down and I pray for the camera to just work for me. And to me, that's just not a good habit. So for me, I'm not anti-burst mode or anything. If it works for you, then by all means, go for it. But at least don't let the camera do all the thinking. Because half of the fun, I say, in street photography is just using your brain, such as noticing things, timing things, and reacting to things in front of you. And I say oftentimes, your first instinct, whenever you see something interesting, you take a shot of it. Don't ever doubt yourself. And I feel like a lot of time that's when I get a very interesting shot, in my opinion. Maybe not like banger photo in today's Instagram standard, but it's a shot that I like and that I enjoy. And sometimes that's all that matters. So don't forget to allow your personality to do the shooting. Street photography isn't always about documenting stranger. At the same time, it's also about just documenting yourself, your growth. The photos that you take, what you choose to put in front of your lens, what catches your eye, how you edit, how you sequence it, all of that is your personality just trickling down into your work. You don't have to mimic the OG street photographers that you see online or in the photo books. And you most definitely don't have to chase the classic street style. The whole point about learning the fundamentals is that eventually you'll be able to break them, bend them, and essentially mix them together into something that feels like you. So go shoot things that you genuinely care about. If you like quiet moments, shoot quiet moments. If you like weird interactions, go hunt for weird interactions. If you like light and shadows, then go chase light and shadows. Forget about the algorithm for a second and forget what a street photo should look like. Not everything has to be downtown full of people with neon signs. Street photography exists wherever human exists. Even in your small neighborhood where one people walks by every 30 or 40 minutes. Street photography is equal parts patience, detective work, preparation, and acceptance. Sometimes you wait, sometimes you wonder, sometimes you predict the moment, sometimes it just surprises you. Sometimes you get the shot, sometimes you go home with nothing. And that's okay, that's all part of the process. At the end of the day, all of these are just tools. The real growth happens when you go out, shoot constantly, and allow your personality to shape the way you see the world. So grab your camera, go outside, observe the city like little Sherlock Holmes, and just enjoy the process. Because even if nothing happens, you still live the whole moment out there. That's what matters.